I want to improve my law firm's client experience and avoid being seen as just another average firm. I'm coming up with a lot of average, huh? Can you offer some advice on how to enhance client interactions and build strong relationships that set my firm apart from my competition?
Sure. So if the goal is to stand out from, let's say in quotes, what an average firm is, and you have to ask yourself, well, why would you consider them average? Is it because they don't care about their client experience? Did they not care about their clients? I mean, every attorney that I come across says that they care about their clients, and yet average is obviously, when you look on a parabolic curve, that's where where the majority sit. So if you're trying to separate yourself from the average, I think the first step is to really establish a baseline and to know, well, what is our client experience? Like if you say, oh, it needs to be better, well, how do you know if it's, just where it's at? If it's a good experience, great experience, a poor experience? And that starts with auditing everything. I mean, one, call your law firm, like today. Like not say, oh yeah, I'll do it, I'll get around to it. No, call your law firm and see how the phone is answered, if the phone is answered, what that experience is like. Secret shop your own law firm. Submit a contact form on your law firm's website. See how long it takes for someone to respond to you and how they respond to you. Start doing the things that are like Schrodinger's cat, right? So meaning that it's almost like you don't want to do it because you fear how bad it's going to be. But then if you don't do it, you never have really the opportunity to know for sure and then start improving. So if you're not willing to do those things, it's probably worse than you think it is, to be completely honest. That's where it starts. And then with like active clients, it's auditing what that experience is for them and not just waiting until they get to the end of a case of saying, well, what was it like working with us? Can you leave us a 5-star Google review? It's asking really along the lines of all the various touch points. Every time they have a call with your staff or they have a call with anybody on your team, how was your experience on that call? Maybe come up with a list of your top 20, just even a random 20 clients every single week. Or even every month, if you want to stretch it out, and just call them and just, as the leader of your firm, ask them, hey, I just wanted to check in. How's your experience been with our firm? Is there anything we can do better? Any type of feedback? One, it's probably going to mean the world to them. Two, you're going to get a lot of very valuable insights. And the worst time, I think, to ask someone what their experience is like is really at the end of an engagement. The best time is, even if it's a poor experience, is while they're still working with you, because now you have an opportunity to improve upon that experience. And then, of course, you can do all the other things like, their birthdays, you send birthday cards, if you know things that are, and we've had guests on the podcast talk about things that they do for client experience. They'll send client gifts and they'll send them just newsletters, they'll send them mailers, they'll do special touch points on significant events for them, on like their wedding anniversaries, and then things like that, their kids' birthdays, because the more you know about your clients, the more that you can make these special moments for them. But I think all that stuff is supplemental to getting the foundational aspects right, which is really, how are your phones answered? How are people responded to? How are updates communicated? And a lot of times we get so distanced from this that we don't really inspect our process, or really kind of fail to understand what that experience is like for a client, of asking them, well, how frequently do we update our clients? And then when we do update them, how are we updating them? Is it a phone call? Is it a text message? Is it an email? Has that been helpful to them? Has it been beneficial? What kind of impact has it made? Have we gotten any feedback on it at all? And if you can get obsessed in this way, because everyone's going to say that they care, but the reality of it is most don't give a shit. They really don't. I mean, they'll say they care. Yeah, we want to provide a great client experience, but they want to outsource that client experience. Let's be real, right? This is kind of a real podcast. They want to outsource it and say, well, can I order a gift for them, or can I send them something and then they'll like me? And that's not a replacement for providing great service and client experience. Those are just supplemental things. Those things work well when you're already providing a great experience. It's like the cherry on top. But the reality of it is like, you got to check yourself first. And I've never met anybody who could do this well unless they actually genuinely cared about their clients. And genuinely caring means that you are obsessed. Like, you know me, I do this. I will randomly submit a form. I will randomly go on the website and start chatting on the Crisp website. I will randomly start doing these things. And it's, one, because I'm a pain in the ass, but two, because I genuinely care about that experience. And I know that if I'm not checking it, maybe somebody else is, but I need to know for sure. So you have to be almost like a pain in the butt in your own, in your own law firm. And that to me would tell me that you care, not just simply saying, oh yeah, I care, I want to make this experience better. If you really cared, you would get obsessed with it and start looking at every single touch point, put yourself through that process, and then make sure that's satisfactory to you. I mean, check everything. Check the way, if you guys mail out a gift to the client, I've asked this on the team. I'm like, send it to me. I want to see, what does the box look like? What does the card look like? How is the mailer packaged? What does the wrapping paper look like? Like, I want to see it. I want to touch it. I want to, just because you got to know for sure. And we've had discussions internally of saying, oh, I don't like this wrapping paper. or I don't like the font that's used here, or I don't like the way this feels, the cardstock here, or whatever it is. And you wouldn't know those things if you didn't put yourself through that process. So if you want to improve your client experience, why not make yourself the client in some ways of secret shopping your firm and putting yourself through that process? And then the next step is, if you want people to provide a better experience, they need to know what great looks like. You have to have some sort of standard in place, and everybody will say, hey, I want to do it like the Ritz-Carlton, or I want to do it like the Four Seasons, or whatever it is. But a lot of times when you're communicating that to your team members, they don't really know, what do you mean by that? What do you mean by Four Seasons, Ritz-Carlton, right? Like, I don't know, maybe they've never stayed there. So they don't have that frame of reference, and you have to really show them, here's what great looks like. Maybe book them up in a room there. Maybe put them through a Ritz training. When we do our workshops, we brought in the Ritz-Carlton to provide client experience trainings. But just someone has to really know what great looks like, and you have to have those standards in place. Otherwise, you can't just outsource great customer service. So take that as you will.
And I can absolutely attest to you checking everything. There's a section of the warehouse where we have a box, like an Michael Mogill approved box of every single mailer that we've sent out. And then we'll also look back at them, like which ones were really great, and we can use those things for next time. But
yeah, I mean, even we get a lot of feedback on our shirts. People like the shirts, but what they don't know is sometimes we'll go through 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 revisions of the shirt where I'm like, I'm going to screen print this thing. I want to wear it. I want to feel it. I want to feel the fabric. I want to see what the colors look like on it. Is the silver, is this going to have this type of sheen to it? And we'll go through revision upon revision upon revision. And they're like, oh yeah, can't you outsource this to someone? Maybe, you can. But then if it's your brand and it's your firm and you say you care, well, maybe you should inspect it.